Hey guys, we're doing another deck spotlight today where you guys send me in a deck. I go over it, critique it, just talk about it, give my initial impressions on it. So today we're taking a look at Ragnell's Superheavy Samurai deck. So just a warning, a disclosure, I don't really know much about Superheavy Samurais yet. I'm still working on building mine. So my opinions will just be off the cards I'm seeing, but a lot of it, could be choice. A lot of things I haven't discovered yet. A lot of opinions I won't have. There's also a lot of OCG cards in this deck, which I don't build, with OCG. So it's going to be hard for me to talk about those as well. But I'll do my very best to try to talk about what I see in the deck that could, be a problem or what I think maybe should be run instead. So for his deck, he's running 2 Effect Veiler, just a way to deal with effects, but also, put in synchros if he wants. I don't know if it's too necessary for this deck, because synchro plays are not really the goal of the deck, in my opinion, but you'll have to see, how it goes along. He's running one Big Benkei. So Big Benkei, I think, is the big star. The point of the entire deck is to have a defensive wall with Big Benkei and then attack with your Samurai. So I think this should be run at 3. I think this should be the main goal of the deck. So I'm kind of worried about the fact that he's only running one. It's kind of hard to see what his main goal of the deck will be when he can't do anything from defense position. And then he's running 3 Blue Brawler, which is fine. Definitely good that it's able to, get itself into defense and not be destroyed by battle. Just a really nice card overall. And then 2 Kabuto. So Kabuto can be very, very interesting to kind of switch things and to set up plays. So I think it could be a nice card. I'm still kind of debating how it works out in this deck. He's running some of the soul cards, which are these kind of equipped armor cards. Some of them are very interesting. Soulbreak armor is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of it because of its powerful effect he can't use because he's only running one. The fact that he can keep a samurai from being destroyed by battle, which will be useful, but he's also using cards that can't be destroyed by battle, so it's kind of tough to say whether he should probably run this in his deck. Soulfire armor, I think is pretty useful. I could definitely see it being helpful to prevent your super heavy samurais from being destroyed. So I think it's a really nice card. If he was running more, well, he's running 2, so he still might consider throwing in one level 5 or something, just because he can make plays like that. So like a level 5 XYZ or something could be something to think about. And then he's running Soul Great Wall. I think this one's actually a very nice one. I think if I was going to run this, I might run it at more than one. I think it could be very useful to kind of bump up things and set up what you need to do. And then he's running 2 Samurai Swordsman. So again, a very useful for Super Samurai. So I think it can be really nice card for this deck. So 2 or 3 is definitely fine. And then he's running Tenbin. So Tenbin's kind of a choice one. In order to get out its special summon effect, but its effect normal by normal summon is still really, really nice that you can make those plays happen. So I still think it's a really nice card. And then he's running Soul Big Bang. So this one I'm still kind of debating a little bit, but having you able to increase defense and do some kind of interesting negation is pretty cool. I do like this card. For the spells, he's running Double Defender. It's kind of a choice in this deck. Again, if he was focusing more on defense and had more defensive plays, I could consider this, but I'm not sure how good this card is overall. I'm still kind of thinking about it. I don't think Negating Attack should be a big part of this deck. I think you should just create a wall so your opponent has to rely on card effects instead. So I'm not sure if this will be too good for that. 1 Day of Peace. I can see it being somewhat useful for this deck because you want to make plays to set up things on the field before you start going in on your opponent. Monster Reincarnation, I don't really see the point in this specific deck, kind of a -1. It's usually for decks that can benefit from having something in the graveyard. 1 Swords of Revealing Light, again to stall and set things up. I was talking about that already. 2 Pot of Duality can be fine. 1 Upstart, no point running Upstart at 1. You could find better cards. No, if you're going to run it at 3. 3 MST, 2 Soul Charge in any deck can be very useful. In this deck, you could set up a lot of plays, so I can see that being useful. 1 Trade-In, definitely don't run this with only 1 8-star. If you're running 3 Big Benkei, then I'd say Trade-In could be more useful. But yeah, when you only have 1 card, it's going to be a dead draw, a huge majority of the time when you don't have Big Benkei in your hand. Double Summon, somewhat useful in this deck, but I don't know. I don't know if it's really necessary. 1 Machine Duplication, which can do some powerful plays with a card like Blue Brawler, so I could definitely see the point of it there. You might want to have more targets for it in order to use it, though. 1 Acidic Downpour. I've seen some people consider this as a field card for this deck, but there are other choices. It's really up to you, depending on what you want to run. Not a bad card for this deck, though. Otherwise, Stable Traps, Negate Attack. Again, I don't think having to deal with attacks is the biggest deal for this deck. And Imperial Iron Wall, I don't really see the point of that in this deck unless you're using it to tech against a certain other deck type. So now for his extra deck, he's running one Utopia. I don't think Utopia is very useful anymore, so I probably wouldn't run it. Blade Armor Ninja and Excalibur, he actually can't he can't build that because he's not running any warrior monsters. They're all machines, so that's not going to work for him. Gagaga Cowboy, that's fine. Silent Honor, Exciton, both good cards. Geargiagear definitely in a deck like this. Soul of Silvermountain, he could definitely run that with some of his level 3 Earths. It's not a horrible card. You can definitely make some decent plays with it. Gorgonic Guardian, he doesn't have any rock monsters in his deck, so he's not going to be able to run this either. Geargiagear, probably not going to come off too often with the low amount of 3 stars in the deck. I think he only has, what, 3 stars? So I'm not sure if this will be really, oh, he has 4 because of Big Bang, but I still think that's tough to get that all out at once. And then with Effect Veiler, he's running a few Synchros. So Dragon of Rebirth, definitely a cool card. He's also running Archimedes, Underworld Fighter. Because of his 1 and 3, Underworld Fighter is fine. I would probably say to run Catastor if you can, just because it's such a useful card. And he's also running 6s, probably not going to come off that often. He's going to need 2 Effect Veilers to make that happen, so I'm not sure about that. But if he does run that, Goyo Guardian, Powered Insectron, both pretty good choices for this deck. So overall, I think he really needs to think about what his goal is with the deck. I think the goal of Super Heavy Samurais are to stay in defense mode and really power over things with Big Benkei, and the soul cards are meant to support them in defense mode. I don't think he has enough things to set himself up for defense mode and just doing a lot of plays that kind of aim around that and abusing the fact that Super Heavy Samurais can attack while in defense mode. That's the biggest thing about this deck, and I think you have to abuse cards that really make that powerful. So in the side deck, that's kind of what I'm going to talk about. Forbidden Lance, invaluable for this deck. The attack thing doesn't matter at all. Giant Rat can summon Big Benkei from the deck and the other ones, which is extremely powerful. Seal is another really powerful card. There's no negative to this card at all because you attack when defense mode, so very powerful. Magical Golem is another really interesting one that, again, there's no negative to it because you're attacking in defense mode. Core Sanctuary, another field card for this deck, kind of an alternative to Acidic Downpour. Messenger of Peace, another card with no negative for your deck, very powerful. Stumbling, very, very powerful for this deck, setting everyone in defense mode. And Unity could lead to big, big plays in OTKs, so I think that's another card to consider. There's a million cards that do bad things to your attack but don't matter for this deck. And if you focused more on Big Benkei and setting himself up, I think you could do some really powerful things with this deck. And that's what I'm looking towards to do with my deck that hopefully I'll be showing off soon. But, I hope I gave you some good advice. I hope you can think about what you want your deck to do and how you can make it a bit stronger. Not trying to hate on you at all, just trying to give you some cool ideas. I do like what you're trying to do. I hope you can keep messing around with it and seeing what'll be best for it moving forward. But thank you to Ragnell for your deck submission. If you guys do have any decks you want me to take a look at, send me a deck list. You can contact me through Skype, through YouTube, through Twitter, and send me, a picture, a deck list, or anything I can work with, and I'll try to, show that off on my channel at some point. But that's about it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.